Today I have two different solar setups and each one costs right at $1,000, but these two setups could not be more different. Over here I have a 400 watt DIY solar kit from Weize. It has everything you need to get up and running with solar power, including 4 100 watt panels, a 100 amp hour battery, and a 2000 watt inverter. Over here I have a solar generator setup consisting of an EcoFlow Delta 2 and a Zopower 450 watt folding panel. So in today's video, I'm gonna unbox everything in the Weize kit, assemble it all together, and then we're gonna put it head to head up against the solar generator setup and find the limits of what each one can and can't power. My name's Eli, welcome to What's Next. This channel is all about helping people understand solar power and having a little bit of fun along the way. So make sure you like and subscribe, it really helps me out a lot. Now let's open up this Weize kit, and along the way, I'm gonna briefly explain what each component does. All right, here we are. Let's unbox everything. Here we have the battery. As you can see, it's 12.8 volts and 100 amp hours. This is gonna store our solar power that we're bringing in from the panels and then put it back out so that we can use it later. All right, so here is the charge controller. So what this does is it makes sure that you don't overcharge your battery. Whenever your battery is full, it cuts off supply from your solar panels. Here's where we will connect the solar panel, here's where we'll connect the battery, and then here's where you can connect the lights directly into it. It can take up to 100 volts and 600 watts of solar, so you have a little bit of room to grow. It also came with this temperature sensor, which you can see plugs in right here on the bottom. You can tape this to your battery and it will monitor how warm or cold your battery is and make sure you're safe there. I wonder what's inside this box. Okay, so here is our 2000 watt inverter. This is going to take power from the battery and turn it into a form of electricity we can actually use. What's so cool about inverters? Look right here, they have AC ports on the front just like you'd plug into your wall in your house. On the back, you've got 2 fans to keep it cool because these things do get warm, and you've got terminals that we're going to use to connect to the battery. We'll put it to the test later and see if it really does handle 2000 watts. Got some drywall anchors, some mounting stuff. Looks like we've got covers for the terminals on the back so you don't accidentally touch them. There's the cables to connect the battery to the inverter. This is the remote, so you can trigger it on and off remotely from a distance. Okay, so in this box we've got all of our solar panel cables, including branch connectors that are going to allow us to connect them together. And this is the cable that's going to go from the battery to the charge controller. Last but not least, we've got 2 boxes with 2 solar panels each, and each one comes with the mounting hardware so you can mount these solar panels to your roof or whatever you want to do. They also come with little LED lights that I guess you could plug directly into your charge controller. Lots of people get these kits for their campers and lay out their solar panels like this on top of their camper. I don't have a camper, so I'm just gonna lean mine up against a fence like this. Of course, with the solar generator setup, there's really no assembly required. So in the time that it takes me to set up that Weize kit, I wanna see how much we can charge this EcoFlow battery with only solar power. We are currently at 85% charged. Let's see if we can get it up to 100. It is really cloudy today, so we'll see. But we're currently getting almost 200 watts. And it says it'll be fully charged in an hour, so I think we're going to be cutting it pretty close. When the sunlight is good, I've seen this panel get up to 480 watts, so we'll see. So if you've ever seen my videos when I assemble a kit like this, you'll know that I like to connect as many things as I can before I connect the battery, because once you connect the battery, then you're playing with actual electricity. However, the caveat to that is the solar panels are the very last thing that you have to connect. You have to connect the battery before the solar panels. So the first thing that I like to connect is the cables that runs from the solar panels to the charge controller. I'm just not gonna plug them into the solar panels yet. So here they are. We've got a positive one and a negative one. These are called PV cables, which stands for photovoltaic. They've got MC4 connectors on one end. This is what's gonna plug into the solar panels. And then the other side of the cable is just bare wire. That's what's gonna plug into the charge controller. So you're gonna put your red positive cable into the positive terminal and tighten it down. It's just a little Phillips head screw, super simple. And then do the same thing with the negative into the negative terminal. I ran the other end of the cables outside my window so I can plug them into the solar panels at the very end. Okay, now we got to start connecting stuff to the battery. Now before we connect anything to the battery, one safety feature that you might want to add that is not included in this kit is a terminal fuse, which looks like this and costs about 15 bucks. I'll leave a link down in the description if you want to pick one of these up. So what a terminal fuse does is it protects your wiring. Wiring can only handle so much current before it overheats, and that's how electrical fires start. A fuse makes sure that too much electrical current is not going to pass through your wires. If too much electrical current goes through the fuse is going to blow and break the connection so that that current doesn't go through your wires. The wires in this kit are 2 AWG, which according to this chart I found on Google looks like they can handle 300 amps or so with this length of cable. So I'm going to use a 300 amp terminal fuse. If there's any electricians in the house, feel free to drop a comment and let me know if there's a different size fuse that I should be using. But you see how easy it is to connect this to the battery. And what it does is it basically just creates a new positive terminal. So you'll connect things to the fuse terminal instead of the battery terminal. So now we're going to connect the cable that goes from the charge controller to the battery, and they have ring terminals on one end that hook to the battery, and then the other end is exposed wire that you're going to screw into the charge controller terminals. Once you've connected both of those, you're going to take your positive inverter cable and your positive charge controller cable and put them both on your terminal fuse with the nuts and washers and get everything nice and tight. Now we're going to connect the negative side, and this is where you got to be careful not to let the end of the negative cable touch with the end of the positive cable. You're going to take your negative inverter cable and your negative charge controller cable, line up the holes and put a terminal screw through them, and then just screw that into the battery. Now as soon as you touch that terminal with that screw, you're going to see your charge controller come to life. You see it's now picking up voltage from the battery. It says we're at 13.2 volts. So now it's time to connect your 2 inverter cables to your inverter. On the back of the inverter, there's 2 terminals. One has a negative sign and one has a positive sign. Now when we connect the battery to the inverter, there's a chance that you'll see some sparks. So it's a good idea to put on your safety gear, especially glasses, because you don't want the sparks getting up in your eyes. Stole this from my daughter, but what does she need a hard hat for? So you're going to grab a wrench and loosen up the nuts on the inverter terminals and then connect your positive cable first. Get it nice and snug on there. Okay, so now it's time to connect the negative cable to the negative terminal on the inverter, and this is where you'll see sparks, unless you can pick up some of these. These are called resistors. They look like this. So the reason that you'll see sparks is because there's capacitors inside the inverter that are currently empty. And whenever you connect that negative cable to the inverter terminal, it's going to rush all this electricity into those empty capacitors. What an inverter does is it slows that electricity down, so it's just going to trickle a little bit of electricity nice and gently into those capacitors. So that way, whenever it's time to actually connect the cable, the capacitors are already full and it doesn't spark, or at least not as much. There might still be a little bit of a spark. So I'm going to take my resistor and I'm going to take the little paper clip end of it, thread it through my cable, and just kind of wrap it around there so it's got a good connection. And then I'm just going to touch the other end to the negative terminal on the inverter. Like that, and just hold it on there for a couple of seconds, let those capacitors slowly fill up. Okay, let's see if that worked. We should get at least significantly less sparks. Now I'm going to put the negative cable on the inverter. Yep, look at that, no sparks. Now use your wrench to get that nice and snug as well. So now that it's all connected, you can turn your inverter on and you can power things. You can plug stuff in there and start powering it right now. But we still need to connect our solar panels. So I'm going to grab my branch connectors and we'll head outside. And I need to hurry because it's about to rain. I'm just going to lay these down so it'll be easier to demonstrate how to hook these up for you guys. So we've got 2 different types of branch connectors. We've got some with female ends and we've got some with male ends. The cool thing about MC4 connectors with solar panels is everything is male and female, so it can only go together one way. So if you look on the back of your solar panels and find the male cables on the back of your solar panels, which are the positive cables, those can only plug in to the female branch connector. And then your 2 negative cables coming off the back of your solar panel have female ends, so they can only plug in to your male branch connector. And just like that, we've connected these 2 solar panels together. Now let's do it with the rest. So now we've got our 4 solar panels connected together with these branch connectors, leaving us with 4 open MC4 connectors. But if you remember, we only have 2 PV cables. So we've got to condense these further with 2 more branch connectors. So you're going to take your 2 male MC4 connectors that are connected to your positive solar panel cables and plug them into the female branch connector. And now we are condensed down to just 1 positive cable. And we'll do the same thing with the negative side. And now we are condensed down to just one negative. So I'm gonna grab my PV cables that I threw out the window. We've just got a male and a female end. It can only go one way. I'm gonna plug the male into the female and male into female. There we go. It looks like a mess, but it's really pretty simple. After you plug in your solar panels, you're going to see a little light up on the charge controller, indicating that you are receiving solar power, and there's going to be a little solar icon as well on the screen. The battery is already 97% charged, which is a good thing because it's so cloudy today, we're only getting in 0.7 amps of solar. Okay, we're about 30 minutes in, but it is super cloudy. Let's see what we got. Look at that. 100% charged in only 30 minutes, even with the clouds. Wow, that's awesome. Now we do have two more things to connect to this setup, and then we'll be completely done. Number one is the temperature sensor. I'm just gonna plug it into the bottom of the charge controller, then stick it to the battery, like so. And then last but not least is the remote switch for the inverter. Just gonna plug it into the inverter, and then you can put the remote wherever you want it. Like maybe I want it over here by the door so I can turn it on as soon as I walk in here. And then you just gotta plug the other end of the cable into the back of the remote. Now you can turn it on from here. Oh, and I almost forgot the terminal covers that go on the inverter terminals. So we've just completed a DIY solar kit. There's a lot of people who don't know how to do this, but now you do, so congratulations. But how does it compare to the solar generator setup? Well, obviously assembly is a little bit easier here. You just plug your solar panel cable into the power station and that's it, you're done. You can see input watts, output watts, battery percentage, and runtime remaining right here on the EcoFlow screen. And also on the EcoFlow app, which is really nice. You can connect the Weize charge controller to an app as well, and it gets the job done. It's obviously not quite as in-depth as the EcoFlow app, but it tells you everything you need to know. And I really like that it shows historical data so you can track how much solar you're bringing in and putting out on a day-to-day basis. Another key difference between the EcoFlow and the Weize Kit is the battery capacity. The EcoFlow has a 1024 watt-hour battery, and this is a 12.8 volt 100 amp hour battery, which converts to 1,280 watt hours. But let's put these two setups to the test and find out what each one can handle. The Weize inverter should have a slight edge here because it's rated for 2,000 watts, whereas the EcoFlow is only rated for 1,800 running watts. The EcoFlow can surge up to like 2,400 watts, but it can't sustain that for very long. So let's find the limit of each one. So let's start with the EcoFlow. First thing I'm going to do is turn on this space heater. All right, we're up to 1,500 watts, 1,600 watts. All right, there we go, down to around 1,260 watts. That's where it's gonna level out at. So now let's add a heat gun. I'm gonna start on the lowest setting. All right, it's got us up over 1,800 watts. Let's see if it can maintain that. Yeah, it's still holding it for now. All right, let me bump it up to the higher setting. 2,000 watts. I got up to almost 2,100 watts. Let's see how long it can maintain this. 2,100 watts. Wow, I can't believe it's still handling this. There it goes. Wow, it ran that for a really long time before it overloaded. Now we're gonna do the same thing, but with the Weize inverter. Turn on the space heater. Up to 1,600 watts, it's dropping now. The fans immediately came on the inverter. Okay, we've leveled off now right at about 1,300 watts. Let's add the heat gun on the low setting. It's got us up to about 1,900. It's not having any problems with that. Let's go ahead and bump it up to the high setting now. There we go, 2,200, and there it goes. Wow. Well, even though it overloaded, it actually came right back on and overloaded again. Well, there we go. The EcoFlow actually handled that surge for longer, but I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing because it's not exactly healthy for the inverter. But this inverter would have stayed under 2,000 watts until we ran out of battery, whereas the EcoFlow is limited to 1,800. That being said, neither of these setups would be able to run 2,000 watts for more than like 20 minutes, so you're really not going to be doing that with these anyways. I just wanted to test and see which one could handle it better. So now that we know what each one of these is capable of, which one should you go with? The solar generator setup has three big advantages. It's already assembled, ready to plug in a solar panel and start powering stuff. No setup required. It has a really great app that tells you everything you need to know and then some, with lots of customizable settings. And most importantly, it's very portable. You can take it anywhere and power anything anywhere. But the Weize Kit has some huge advantages as well. It's easy to upgrade, you can add more solar panels and more batteries. You can expand the EcoFlow's battery too, but it's much cheaper to add more batteries to a system like this. Another huge advantage, and the reason that most people still go with these instead of solar generators, is because you can easily repair this. I get so many comments from people saying that they will never buy a solar generator because you can't swap out parts if something goes bad. If any of the components go bad in a solar generator, you have to buy a whole new solar generator. If any of these components go bad, you just have to buy that component and swap it out. So 10, 20 years, this battery is going to have a lot less capacity than it does now, and you're going to want to swap it out. With this system, you can just put in a new battery. With the EcoFlow, you got to buy a whole new EcoFlow. This Weize Kit is also better for more of a just sit it and forget it type of setup. It's just there, ready to go. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to touch it. Just turn it on and do what you got to do. I tend to baby my power stations more and take better care of them because, again, if something goes wrong, you got to buy a whole new one. Whereas with this, if something goes wrong, I'll just fix it. So let me know what you think. If you've got $1,000 laying around for a solar setup, which direction are you going in? I think both are valid and great entry points into solar, and the one that you go with entirely depends on your particular needs. If you decide to go with a more traditional setup, I'll have a link to this Weize Kit down below, along with everything else that I mentioned in this video. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.